Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Wowhead Weekly, number 108. We have done so many of these shows, it's almost unbelievable, and I've enjoyed every single one. We have a lot to talk about today with patch 7.2, obviously on the PTR, even though 7.15 just went live. So, yeah, before we get into all the news, let me introduce my lovely co-host, Wowhead Site Manager, Perculia.
Hey everyone! So busy week with the 7.2 PTR, but before we start, I want everyone to wish Sass148 a happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
it's
Sass!
His birthday today, and he's like moderating chat and looking at questions. So yeah,
you know what,
awesome.
Sass? Because I love you, I am gonna sing. When I used to be a waitress at Uno, we had to sing a special birthday song. So I'm gonna modify it for Wowhead, and I'm gonna sing it to you. Are you ready? We're the staff at Wowhead. We like to see you smile. Hey, we hope that you will stay for just a little while. We hear it is your birthday. We'd like to say to you a happy, happy birthday from all of us to you. Hey!
Yay!
They didn't pay me enough to sing that song. Let me tell you that right now. So yeah, we have a ton to talk about today.
You're awesome, Sass, and 7.2 PTR.
He's amazing. He is the one who makes sure that all the emails get taken care of. That when we do contests, all the prizes get distributed. He moderates our Twitch chat. He moderates comments on Wowhead. He does a whole lot of work, and honestly, it's kind of a thankless job. Like, everybody sees Perk, and then they also see me, and I have nothing to do with any of that. And they're like, "Oh, thanks, Perk and Panzer," and I'm like, "This isn't even my job." And he does a ton of stuff, so we love you.
Like, if something breaks, he has to handle the angry feedback.
He's the PR guy, so he gets yelled at by everyone. Poor guy, but we love him. Stas is a super nice guy, and we appreciate all that you do. So I hope you have a wonderful birthday.
Yep.
So
yeah, let's just dive right in with the sparkliest, fanciest stuff on
with
the PTR.
Like everything, right? So let's take a look at what I have right here is a slideshow of all of Wowhead's high definition previews of tier 20, because obviously with Tomb of Sargeras we are getting a new tier of gear, and it's all inspired by tier 6. It's all like HD tier 6, and then there's all different colors, and I think it's really cool seeing like the Death Knight and the Monk ones, because they didn't really have anything to base it on, so they had to kind of envision what they would do for those tier pieces if they existed back in the day.
Right.
Right now, Wowhead has the tier pieces out for Druids, Death Knights, Warriors, Monks, and Death Knights, right?
Warlocks and
Warlocks.
Paladin. Yeah,
and
so we were at 6 out of 12.
6 out of 12.
I mean, we want to make sure we get all the colors.
Yeah, and all the little interesting...
like the mythic extra spikes and all that.
Well, and the Druid one is amazing. Like, you won't even... I don't even think you can... Yes, you can. Okay, because this is my slideshow, so you totally can. So let's check it out. The bigger ones are the mythic variants, and the smaller ones are the normal colorations. I'll let this slideshow play through a couple times so you guys can see it, but how amazing is that Druid?
Oh, yeah, what's really cool about the helm is that the face changes between like a boomkin and then a cat and a bear.
Yeah.
So you have all the specs covered.
And there's like a moose kind of on the shoulder, not a moose, but like a deer.
Yeah, the Paladin I think is really neat because in the mythic version, you can see that the book and the hammer levitate a bit more, and there are tons of extra sparkles, and they've used the 3D extra armor effects to give some extra like oomph, so it's not just the boring, basic tier 6.
Oh, speaking of boring, what you're seeing right now on your screen are the dungeon sets that are going to be introduced with the Cathedral of Eternal Light. Also keep in mind that when we call these tier... Did I say night? Or did
you said light instead of night, but yeah, it's night.
I've done that a couple times. I keep interchanging them back and forth, and they're sort of the exact opposite. But I was going to mention, when we do say that these are tier 20 and the dungeon sets, you see that there's so many different colors of them. Obviously, one of them is going to be LFR, one of them is going to be normal, one is going to be heroic, one is going to be mythic. There will also likely probably be a PvP. One of these will probably be a PvP set as well, because that's how Blizzard rolls. So they're not... Don't look at this and say, oh, I don't raid. I'll never have a chance of getting any of this, because there is a variant for you out there somewhere. But I love them. What's your favorite set we've seen so far?
So I like the Paladin shoulders.
Yes.
And I also like the Druid shoulders as well. So those two are my favorites so far.
I don't know. I kind of love the Warrior set. You just look like an unstoppable wall of like iron and steel.
I'm curious. I mean, at first I was like, oh, I hope they have an updated bulwark of Azeroth. But I mean... Obviously, they don't, but it would be cool if somehow there was like a cosmetic shield or something that people could have, because that was the weapon that definitively matched Warrior tier 6.
Yeah. Do you know what's really cool about these dungeon sets we're seeing? And when you come back around, you can see them. It kind of looks like some of them are made out of parts of slain demons. Like the male set has a piece of the belt looks like it's maybe like a bat wing or a demon wing, and the belts on the plate set look like almost like Kill Jaden's head or something. They're really cool. They look like they could totally, I don't know, have been crafted from pieces of demons that were slain. There were demons harmed in the making of this gear.
I wonder if we'll see them being used for maybe some Legion Invasion or World Quest rewards, because we had those fell transmogs leading up to Legion, with the special invasions and like Hillsbred, and now the invasions are returning, so maybe we can get some colors from killing those same demons again.
Yeah.
We'll see.
They're really cool sets. Both the tier 20 and the dungeon sets are really cool, and I'm excited to see like so much attention to detail in the models of the tier 20, especially because I think tier 6 was kind of like a very beloved gear set for a lot of people. I feel like, I don't think it's a bold statement to say that that's a very transmogged set, that's a very, very, very popular set. So I'm glad to see how much really, I don't know, you can tell that there was so much effort put into like preserve the authenticity of it. Also, thank you so much for subscribing, Invalid Toaster.
Yes, thank you.
We appreciate that. So yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait. I'm loving getting tier gear now in Nighthold, and I'm already excited for the next tier that's not going to be out for like 4 months.
So yeah, artifacts is the next thing that's up. With artifacts, there are new trait paths that are added.
Yep.
And you can see them up on Wowhead's calculator, but you can't actually access them on the PTR. And coming soon on the PTR, you will be able to complete a short quest line, and then you can spend your artifact power on these new traits. And players that have over 34 traits and have put them into that like endless paragon trait will have their points and artifact power refunded. Their weapon will become naturally stronger to make up for the trait loss, and then they can spend all that extra artifact power on the new, more interesting traits instead.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Also, do not stockpile your AP, because if you have all these AP items in your bag, they will not work after you finish that short quest line in 7.2.
Wow, really?
Yep, that was hotfixed in last week.
Okay, but what would be the purpose of that? Whether you used it now or then, like, why?
Well, I think the idea is that, I guess they want people to, like, be encouraged to spend points into other artifacts or to play an alt, as opposed to just, like, stockpiling the AP and then when 7.2 hits.
Are you suggesting that for people who maybe are maxed out?
Exactly.
Okay,
yeah.
I didn't even consider that as an option because that's so far out of my reality of life.
Yeah.
So I was like, wait, why would you even do that? I don't understand. I get it now. I'm on board with what's going on. But I don't think that's like too much to fret about, because there will be additional like artifact knowledge levels in 7.2. So you'll be able to get more at a better rate once you get there anyways. So yeah, that's the thing. Also, do you want to see all the appearances for the solo challenges?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, in addition to all these traits, which have funny names like Cobra Commander and like Positive Outlook,
so cute.
There are new appearances for solo challenges. Even a new Guardian Druid bear appearance.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's like a werebear or like a badger or something.
Yeah, the initial tint is from a solo challenge, but then the other tints, that you unlock after doing the other things are like Heroic Kill Jaden and doing a certain number of battlegrounds and killing all the Legion dungeon bosses. So, we haven't been able to test these yet on the PTR, but you can preview them on the Artifact weapon calculator and preview them in our dressing room on your own character.
Yes, that's the coolest feature. I love doing that when I'm going to do transmog, which we're going to talk about transmog in a minute. I didn't even realize that, but good transition. But these are all of the appearances, and these are supposed to be really hard to get. I guess the developers were inspired by things like Benediction and Green Fire. These are going to kind of be, excuse my language, but the E-peen of Artifact appearances. Like, if you see someone walking around with one of these appearances, even just a base tint, it should be pretty obvious nod that they're a good player and that they know what they're doing and that they understand their class and specs. So I really, really like the Demon Hunter ones are awesome. Both specs are really cool.
Yeah, I was going to say that the Fiery Havoc one is really cool. And then
Yes.
for Vengeance, what's unique about that is the main hand and the offhand look slightly different. So like the main
Yeah.
hand has this skull with the horns on, and the offhand is plainer.
I love the druid. I love all the specs of druid, especially the owl staff. I believe that's the resto. No, that's the boomkin one. No, the boomkin is the scythe. Yeah, I really like the resto one. I like both of the
Knight's
forms.
Yeah.
I really like the warrior shield and flail as well. It looks kind of trolly and ancient, and I really like that.
The prot paladin and warrior, they have the crusader type Diablo flail. It's not just the traditional mace. It has
and it's animated too. It like flips around and stuff like that, so it kind of like swings in the way that it would. I'm actually not a huge fan of the shaman appearances. I know that's probably like very typical of me. Like, I play a shaman and I don't even like the shaman things. I just feel like there are appearances in game right now that are super similar to that. Like, I don't think they're as unique as some of the other ones are.
Yeah, I like the disciplined priest one a lot. Ascended Wrath, it has the little wings coming out of it, and there's a bright pink one actually,
yes,
which is kind of cool.
I'm just gonna let this go through one more time too, so that you guys can see it, because I know it's only like 5 seconds, but those druid forms, so good, so good. That owl staff is so good too, and oh my gosh, the hunter bows and polearm, so good. Those are so pretty.
Oh yeah, so yeah, marksman and survival. If you look at them, they are inspired by Rockdalar and the staff, which sprouted flowers.
Love them.
So if you look at Wild Runner with the flowers on it, you can see that one is like blue flowers, another is pink, and another has dark blue ones, and that's what the actual bow is like. And if you go to Wowhead, if you look at like the old screenshots, you can see the flowers, and I think that that's super cool because you can't get those weapons anymore, and there's a lot of significance to them.
Yeah, it reminded
really
me
excited to see it return.
Of a druid staff. I think you can still get it. I think it's like a low-level quest. It's like a branch, and it like blooms with flowers, and then the flowers will go away, and it blooms with mushrooms, and then those will go away, and it'll bloom with like leaves. I don't know, very, very classic WoWy type appearance. I really like it. I really like all of them except for Resto Shamans, because of course I don't like the Resto Shaman ones. That's very typical, but yeah, we were just talking about transmog a minute ago, so this seems like a kind of a good transition.
Yep.
But in 7.2, there'll be this new sets tab in your transmog UI that will keep track of what sets you've completed and what pieces you're missing, and it'll let you like preview what they all look like. And I think for people who are really completionist about this, I think that it will be very appreciated. And kind of hand in hand with this change is that all of the raid tiers from, I believe, Serpent Shrine Caverns on will now be usable if you right click the token, as opposed to having to go track down the vendor. There is no word yet.
That makes it easier to get.
So much better. Oh my god. Well, and it's like it's right now, it's not that it's really difficult, right? Like, you can look it up, you can go find the vendor. It's just such a pain in the butt. So I'm really, really glad they're making this change, and I hope to Thrall that it backdates, because I have about 20 pieces of tokens, 20 token set pieces sitting in my bank that I just haven't, tracked down the vendor to turn them in.
Yep. Also, just another note about the transmog UI. It tracks all tier and PvP sets for your class. It does not track tier that is not intended for your class. So, like, if you're a priest and you can get a set that looks like mage tier, it won't track that. It will just track the priest stuff. And it won't track other sets like dungeon sets or quest sets, profession sets, or like unofficial tier things. So for example, like
recolors.
So it won't be like, in Burning Crusade you can have this cool version of Druid tutor. It's like, nope, this is just random stuff that happens to match. We're not tracking that. But it's a good way. I was gonna say, it's just a good way. Like, if you want to get more into transmog and you want to know where to start, the tier stuff is a fun place to start.
Absolutely. And if you are collecting the tier sets, once you do have all the pieces, everybody has a place in their order hall that will display like all of your sets on like a little mannequin. So it's kind of a dual satisfaction type thing. Also coming in 7.2 are crafted legendaries.
Yeah, so these were a bit of a surprise.
They're not very good. Here, I'll show you a picture while you're talking about it.
Yeah, like we got this blue post saying that more legendary improvements are on the way, but we, so far we just have these 4 legendaries. Yeah. So I'm curious to see what's like, and we've also data mined some of the early quests, but not all of the quests. So like for the tailoring one, you have to collect silkweed from creatures around the Broken Isles. Then you clear the Archway, clear Court of Stars, and defeat Elisande, and then do some other stuff. But yeah, I mean, these don't really have effects or procs right now.
Yeah, they look kind of bad right now. Plus, they're BOP, which, like, I feel like it's a very outdated thing for people to have, like, their profession be the type of gear they wear. Like, that was a very vanilla,
Yeah.
like, you know, back in the day, any, like, druids were leather workers all the time because they could wear leather. That was a very old school kind of MMORPG thought process. And now, because crafted gear isn't that great and most of it is you can sell it anyways, plus there's no, base benefit to having a specific profession. Like, a lot of people have two gathering professions. A lot of people have a profession that helps their guild more, like alchemy or inscription, something like that. And then so for someone like me, who I'm the guild scribe, I think there's 2 scribes in my entire guild, and I'm like the only one who has 3 stars and everything. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that. I don't know what the other person has, but I'm always making stuff for everybody. Like, I mean, if the male one was good, I don't have leatherworking or blacksmithing, so I'm just out on that. And it seems like sort of a strange.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what they're intending with this. I mean, I think if people want to have more identity with their professions in a way, being like, you can craft this awesome thing is a good way to make people feel attached to their profession. But, it's like, are they meant to have procs? Like,
yeah, that's another strange thing.
Not meant to. Is it meant to be like, oh, I had bad luck and this is an alt, so I'll do this quest line just to get a legendary? Like, I'm not really sure what the deal is. And one of the items, this Fell Essence Legion Flask, there are versions in the database ranging from uncommon to legendary, and there's also a currency called Fell Essence, so it seems there's another quest line where you will keep upgrading this item to get a legendary reagent to make the legendary.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Feels like, I don't know, maybe this would be something that there would be a good, like, PTR preview or, blue post about, because right now it's pretty incomplete, and, we just see these legendaries pop up, and we're like, whoa, like, they're orange and they have no procs, but they're legendaries. So
I feel like a better way to handle this system would be to be able to, gather that legendary item by doing the quest line, and then have whoever made the item be able to make it, but then you had to use that item to activate it. So, like, you could sell the half of a legendary essentially, but in order to wear it, you would have to farm that thing out yourself.
Yeah.
Because it just seems very odd to me that they would lock it to be the BOP is what got me the most out of anything. Like, I can deal with they're not very good, because I don't think that a crafted legendary should be as good as something that you've, played to earn. Not that it's because it's RNG, but it's still, I mean, the more you play, there's bad luck protection, and you're eventually going to get what you want, unless you're me. But, I mean, it makes sense to me that the crafted legendaries wouldn't be that good, but it's very weird to me that they would be BOP.
Yeah, I mean, they did make a blue post saying that more improvements were on the way and that they were going to add them when they got to the, like, systems pass, but
yeah,
we'll see. I mean, they just popped up early, so obviously they stood out. What else is there? Oh yeah, so Vantas runes are coming for all of the raid bosses as expected, but also for dungeons, and the new dungeon, Upper Karazhan, Lower Karazhan, Violet Hold, all of them. And I guess the idea is that if you're not focusing on raiding, or you're really pushing Mythic Plus, that a Vantas rune would be great for some evil boss combinations than using it on a dungeon instead of a raid.
Yeah,
so
I think
that's a thing, and they're coming.
Yeah, and not only that, but there are people who, like you said, don't raid, but they do the quests to go do dungeons. You know what I mean? Like, it might send you to do those, and for somebody who isn't wearing raiding gear, it can be a lot more difficult to even get through, like, even a low mythic level.
That quest, like the series you have to do for the 3rd artifact relic.
Yeah.
That takes you through a lot of dungeons.
Yeah. So I think that's a good change. And I also think that, like, it could, even though it doesn't, it's not going to make a world of difference. Like, if you're a horrible player and you're so bad, but like, it's not going to make you amazing. But I think stuff like that, I think a lot of it is like a boost of confidence, almost like a, you know what I mean? Like, almost like a placebo effect, just like knowing that, oh, well, I have a flask and I have my food and I'm so prepared, makes you feel better about going in, and you play better as a result of it. That's my psychological analysis for what's going on here. I do think it's really cool that it lasts the whole dungeon, too, as opposed to... But but will it still last a week?
I mean, I think so. I can pull up the items and see what it says.
I wonder if that is like a hint that they might be releasing some sort of special... like weekly quest or multi-day quest where maybe you have to do a dungeon a couple times, or because I mean that would make a lot more sense, because I mean if you can do, I don't know, it just seems like that's a lot, like, because if you use a Vantas rune for a raid, it makes sense that it lasts a week because you're gonna likely be in that raid for a week. But I mean, you could do a dungeon 7 times, even on Mythic. So unless there was something that would, push you to do a specific dungeon more than once, it seems like that's a really long time for a buff to last on a dungeon set. I mean, I don't think it's in the Data X. I was just researching this for a video I did.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Let's see.
We're super early in the PCR.
Rune, Nathalian Zir. No, I mean, I think, I don't know if they'll change it, but it still says you can only use 1 Vantis rune per week, and the effect lasts for the entire week. So
it also might be cool if, you know how you could have, like a battle flask and not a battle.
Oh yeah, like a dungeon rune and a
like a dungeon rune and a raid rune, and they didn't like cancel each other out. That would be cool too. Anyways, on from Inscription. Yep. Oh, there's new glyphs for that succubus that we saw last week. I assume this is. Hold on, let me bring her up for everybody. Talk about it.
So there are 4 new glyphs that we found. 2 are for Death Grip and 2 are for the Succubus. And you can't purchase them on the PTR yet, but Blizzard says that they were experimenting with things like you could change the color of your Death Grip based on your spec via a glyph. So we'll see if that becomes a reality.
Hey,
but yeah, the Succubus looks very cool.
Do you remember when we had an interview with Mumper and John Haidt, and we said, wouldn't it be cool if there was a glyph that made this type of stuff change colors with your spec? And they were like,
I remember.
I haven't thought of that, but that's a great idea. Look what we did.
Yep. Go us.
Look what we did. Look what we did. So this, I believe, is the new Succubus model that is going to go along with that.
There's a Fel and a Shadow one, and I believe that's the Fel one.
Yeah, it looks pretty Fel, but they're awesome. Cool. There's also been some data mined, not that this is really relevant to that, but they've also data mined new ghoul models, and I think that's going to be with the new DK update animations and stuff.
Yeah, we've been making videos on some of the animations. The animations aren't quite finished yet, so we're still we're still working on them, and we'll be making follow-up videos. Like the barrage animation for hunters looks pretty broken right now. So.
Barrage is broken in general, so I guess it matches. There's also some items in the data that are hinting that we'll have some sort of fishing boss.
Yeah, there are like items that there's like fishing currency for every zone, and then there are items being like summon fishing boss 1 through 6. So, fishing has been so out there with the artifact and all these cute, bobbers and the conjurer with his mana. So, I'm not going to rule that out. And we did see fishing bosses kind of miss Pandaria when there was like the fish of the day, and then like the evil sort of like lurker below would come out, and you'd have to kill him, and you get the fishing journal as a reward.
Not only that, but I feel like fishing has been so popular, and then we've got the return of the Stranglethorn fishing tournament. I feel like people have never cared about fishing the way they care about fishing now. I feel like it's extremely popular right now. Like everybody in my guild comes into raid, and there's a new person who's like, "Got my artifact fishing pole, fam."
Yep, it's so cool.
we're all dorks for fishing. I don't know. It's like a fun little thing to do, especially like if you're just kind of you have an afternoon to play and you don't want to. Yeah. It doesn't have to be high stress. It doesn't have to be anything like that. It's just fun. It's very rewarding because you're constantly getting little things, and I don't know. I like fishing.
It's nice to have it be so relaxing and not tied to anything, urgent or on a deadline.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Find a Pepe Bobber, do something.
Yeah, I haven't gotten the Pepe one. I have the cat and the tugboat and the can of worms.
It's okay, Pepe.
But I don't have the Pepe one is the one I want so bad. I haven't finished my rep with Conjure Margos yet. I was doing it, and then I was like, no, I want to get the fishing pole, and literally stopped like halfway through and like rerouted all of my attention to get the artifact fishing pole. But I'm at that. I think I'm at like 14 points into it now, so it's a lot slower to get artifact power, so I'll probably go do that. What bobbers does he give? He gives good bobbers too. Anyways.
Yeah, he gives 2 of them. I think there's like 6, and he's 2 out of the 6.
Yeah, so getting close. Yeah. Oh, that means that Pepe is the only random world one I haven't gotten. Typical.
Wait, do we have Pepe in the notes?
You want me to show the Fel Pepe again? I'll do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But okay.
I'll do it. Don't worry. I got him. He's right. I made this cute little layout of all of his poses, and it looks like a Pepe, like Fel Pepe yearbook picture.
Yeah.
So he's so cute. Do we know how to get him yet?
No, we don't. So I have 2 ideas. The first is that I think he's going to spawn anywhere on the Broken Shore. And he might spawn in really annoying places, like you have to do a little like jumping stuff to get to him, or buy an elite.
Or flying. Maybe you'll have to fly to reach him.
So I think he'll be like, you can find him anywhere in Dalaran, and then you can find this guy anywhere in the Broken Shore. And then my second thing is that maybe he'll be in a treasure or have like a cute little vignette so we discover like why Pepe is a demon hunter now.
Be so good. It
those
would
are
be
my
cute
two
if it was
ideas.
like a quest, like that you
I
went and
know.
found Pepe, and then like you had to carry him around on your head for a while, and then like he wanders off, and when you find him again, he's like, when you get back to him, he's all fell now, and
I
things
know,
happen
that's
to Pepe.
actually sad.
No, it's not, because
Maybe,
he would be doing it for the greater good.
maybe this is another member of Pepe's family, because I still believe that there are multiple Pepes.
There are multiple Pepes, whether they took them out of Suramar or not. There are definitely Pepe is a breed, not a name. I don't care what anybody says.
I know.
He is a Pepe.
Yep.
No, I don't have an Illidan Pepe. I have an Illidan Puff Puggle.
Yep.
It's different.
I would also love to see an Illidan Pepe plush coming soon.
Yes! With Warglaives. He's got to have Warglaives. It's
Yep.
important. It's
They
important.
could be little Velcroed on.
So cute. Oh my goodness. Sorry, we got
All right,
off,
back to items.
We got off track.
So,
Also
there's-
in 7.2, there will be ensembles added for old PvP sets so that you'll be able to transmog to them. And what's even cooler about this is that ensembles in 7.2, you'll be able to control click on them, and you'll get like a little preview window like you would a piece of gear, which it's about time.
Yeah. Also, I think maybe last week we talked about how there were we data mined elite versions of the ensembles, and there was some back and forth on Blizzard's end, and they decided not to add the elite PvP ensembles as options.
Lame.
So, yep.
Lame.
What else did we find? Oh yeah, so we found a lot of order advancement stuff in Champions. We've had all these patches recently, but there hasn't been a lot on the horizon for advancement and Champions. So the main thing is that there are now 2 order tiers, rank 7 and 8. Rank 7 lets you choose between an additional champion slot and new type of troop. And for rank 8, new relics buff an additional trait. And there are lots of new champions, like a lot of interesting lore characters. You've got Aethys Sunreaver for mages, Mag the Grim Totem for shaman, who I know is kind of controversial.
I like her.
Yeah. Oh, wow. You like a shaman thing. That's
Right?
Yeah,
But she's
wow.
also a Tauren. Come on.
Right.
I
guess,
It
yeah.
should barely count.
And there's Thistly Crow for druids, and there's a lot more. You can find them if you just go to the PTR versions of Wowhead's database and go to the champion section. And it's
My criticism is because I love them and I want the best for them. I have
Yep.
high expectations.
I'm excited about the extra champion slot. I know a lot
Yes.
of people have been asking for that.
Well,
So
it makes me wonder how good, because I know that for Shaman in our order hall, there comes a tier where you get to choose between an Ascendant or something else. And I know it's like, hands down, you pick the Ascendant. The Ascendant is way better
Right.
than whatever the other thing is. So I know if there's like a new type of thing, I wonder how powerful that thing is going to be.
yeah, I mean, I can probably pull up the troop and see what it is.
Yeah, I wouldn't
if we're
trust it
curious,
until
right?
it was live
Okay.
anyways, though,
Yeah.
because everything is subject to change right now. So I think it's really hard to tell balance until it's out. But
Yep.
I'm interested.
Yep.
I'm interested.
So we've got Legion Invasions up next. We previewed these last weekend, so we didn't have a show since then. There's going to be one for each zone, where the entire zone gets invaded, and the world quest switch over to demon versions of them. You complete the world quest, then you defeat the elites, and then you complete a special scenario with 3 other people. Blizzard says they are refining this because people are saying it felt like too repetitive and like the pacing seemed off. So we have a video up on the Azuna one, but we're holding off the others until we see what they're being changed to.
Yeah, and wait, I feel like it's really important that everybody knows that scenario is in the sky. Like you do your battle on
It's
the
on
ground.
the ship.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
when you're done with that, you get to go like fight them in their alien Legion fell spaceships. Kind of awesome.
Yep.
Kind of awesome. I'm gonna throw up.
So-
I'm not gonna throw
Yeah.
up. I'm going to put up
Okay.
this Broken Shore preview images while you talk a little bit more about the Broken Shore.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, so the Broken Shore is the new outdoor zone of 7.2. It's meant to have the exploration and rare spawn feel of the Timeless Isle, but also an additional story component with the Order Hall campaign continuing. The main hub area has special areas for each class, as well as an area that has the NPCs change based on your class. So like for Demon Hunters, you have this, green logo in the center of the pool, and, warriors see like Guards of Odin instead. Dag the ogre is even there. He is hiding in the pool with a turtle on his head, and he thinks he's disguised as a turtle. As the area, as you can imagine, is very dark, but it's really striking, and there's some it's not just like, oh, here's this desolate rock with demons everywhere. There's like an area where there are these racing fell ponies. There are 3 pet tamers scattered about. There will be 3 world bosses, including Brutalis. The raid is there. The Cathedral of Eternal Night dungeon is there. And there are these magical discs just that spawn all over the place that let you fly around the Broken Isles, so you can not the Broken Isles, the Broken Shore, so you can see see it from above and see all the cool scenery, and maybe it'll be used to get to some certain treasures. Also, there are also a lot of fell-tinged creatures. Notably, there are fell murlocs. So
I have a picture of that. Look. Okay, also, I think I just learned something about slideshows that is most important. So that's a fell murloc, speaking of things that are very important.
Yes.
Speaking of things that are very important, he's awesome. And he starts out, when you first meet him, he's not full metamorphosis. Like,
right, he just does that when he's mad with you.
He just does that when he's mad, which is amazing. Like, it's so good. Blizzard is so hilarious. Okay, so, like, let me just take a look at this. So, this is our gear. Okay, let's wait for it to switch. It takes 5 seconds.
All right.
1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000. Oh my god, this is how... Oh, it didn't work. Oh, never mind. All right, back to the Broken Shore stuff.
Back to the Broken Shore.
Sorry.
So the Broken Shore has a lot of content that we think will be enabled in the next PTR build. For example, there are lots of treasures, but when you click on them, they don't have anything in them. The class hub looks really cool, but there's no real quests there. And apparently there will be more Order Hall quests coming in a future build, as well as the Armies of Legion Fall faction. That is one of the factions required for Pathfinder and flying. So... yeah.
I'm going to Google this when we're done. I just learned there's a way to pause the slideshow. I just don't know how to do it, and that's going to be so good going forward. I'm sorry. I'm excited. Go ahead.
All right. So the last thing, which is a topic you should like, is pet battle dungeons. So far, we've tested Wailing Critters, which is a pet version of Wailing Caverns. You go to the dungeon, and you fight pet versions of all of the bosses.
I'm so excited.
And once you beat it on sort of like normal difficulty, you can go back and repeat it. And if you do it without healing, or, if you do it with all like your pets being alive and you don't need a reset, you can't heal in there. And if you complete it, then there's a satchel with a chance of one of 3 pets that are Wailing Cavern themed.
Yeah.
So it's really cute.
It is. Yeah. I'm so excited for this. You have no idea. I'm so excited for this. And I love that they kept kind of the homage to Pokemon with like not being able to heal while you're in there, because that was always the thing when you went to like gyms. You couldn't heal while you went through them. So I'm super, super excited for this, and I'm excited to see what other dungeons they do. And this just goes back to us saying again, I wish they'd find ways to make old content more relevant to max level players. And that's what this is. This is reusing those dungeon layouts and maps, and you're walking into the dungeon, but you're there for a completely different purpose.
And I think that the Horde knows a lot more about this dungeon than the Alliance. Maybe the Alliance will learn something new as they go there. Like, I always thought it was super cool how when you go to Wailing Caverns, it's like you have to go in like the eye of the skull. And
wait, this brings me to my next... Wait.
Okay.
I thought...
What?
Which one is the one that's in Orgrimmar? I thought that was Wailing Caverns.
That's Rage. No, that's Ragefire.
Phenomenal. I'm so good at World of Warcraft. It's unreal. That makes a lot more sense, because I literally talked about how I didn't understand why Blizzard would send Alliance to the middle of the Horde. That makes a lot more sense. That's how long it's been since I've done those level of dungeons. Because it's like these days with...
Now it's bringing you back to the
old content. It's like with these days... Yeah, Ragefire Chasm is the one that's in the Barrens. No. Yes. Wailing Caverns. Wailing Caverns.
Wailing Caverns has like the flowers growing around it, and it's the savory deviant delights.
I know where it is now. Okay, I just had a real moment of confusion there. I'm sorry. It's been a very long time since I've been in any of those dungeons, because with level up gear now, it's like you just level up so quickly. You like pass those levels so fast that you don't have any reason to go there. So, anyways. I'm excited we're going back there. But I'm also excited to see what other dungeons they do. Because there's some dungeons, like one that stands really out to me is Zul Farak. That was when I was leveling up. That was the first dungeon
with
that you
the
could
stairs.
mount up in with the stairs and stuff, and everybody loved that dungeon. So I'm excited. I'm
Yeah.
excited to see where they go with this, because it could almost be like time walking, where they slowly are introducing
Yeah, I
more
think
and
that'd
more
be
to
cute.
us. By the way, I've had a video up where I talk about that, and nobody has called me out on that. So I know I'm not the only one that screws those up, because I haven't even gotten called out for that mistake yet. And it's been up for a couple hours. Internet, you're slacking. You're slacking. I'm super excited.
Hint, watch the video and make a note.
Go leave comments on it. Yeah, I'm really, really excited for Pet Battle Dungeons, and I'm surprised how many things Blizzard announced at BlizzCon that we've already gotten or are getting extremely soon. I feel like for years, like the running joke was almost like, don't believe anything you hear at BlizzCon, because everything was a lot of those announcements were very tentative, and I don't know if Blizzard has just gotten better at.
Yeah, I think they've also expanded their raid team.
Yeah.
I mean, they not raid team. I think everything, and they're just sort of raid.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they've expanded their. I think that they've mentioned this in interviews. I think even around Warlords, how they tried to expand the team, and they had to like teach everyone how to use the new tools and tech, and that the idea is in the long term it would pay off, where like people could be working on different types of content and patches at once, so there was always something ready to go.
Yeah, and because this year at the World of Warcraft Q&A, we heard that the Stranglethorn fishing tournament might come back in 7.15. It did. We heard about Pet Battle Dungeons. All they said was in Legion. I thought that was going to be like a year from now.
Right, 7.3, but it was now.
You know what I mean? Like next patch it was in. We heard about, I'm trying to think
about the new artifact traits. We heard about like Tier 20 was coming.
Yeah. I was trying to think of what we heard about that didn't have like an actual patch attached to it when they announced it, because like those were the things that a lot of times would like fall by the wayside, and I feel like we're getting so many of those promises fulfilled so quickly. And I'm very happy about it.
So we have even more odds and ends for 7.2 on Wowhead's PTR coverage, but since a lot of that is sort of like incomplete or just like, oh, here's an item or random blue post, we'll discuss that on Wowhead Weekly when it's more polished. But you can just sort of browse Wowhead's old new pages or click on the patch 7.2 tag to see everything related to the patch. And I'm sure we'll have a PTR build this week as usual with, more stuff, more quests we'll be covering.
Yep. So, and Wowhead will also be releasing more of the tier 20 sets in that high definition with all the sparkles and stuff on them over the next week or so. So keep an eye out if your class hasn't been out yet, because they're awesome with all of there's just so many little details in them that, I don't know. I just feel like there was a lot of attention a lot of care and attention and like respect paid to tier 6 in those.
Like some people were disappointed that some tier 20 sets seem to be like, just like high definition versions of tier 6. So we want to make sure that when we preview them, we're taking care to show like all the extra colors or, special details on the shoulders.
Yeah.
So you present them in like the best possible way.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to remember that this is like first wave of PTR patches. And a lot of times when they do release those sets and stuff, they're not necessarily complete with all of their textures when they're in the data. So if you do see your set come out and you're like, oh, that's underwhelming, give it a little while before you get too upset about it, because it might just not be in its final form, if you will, in the data. Oh, poor Perk. You've had a cold for like 3 weeks.
I know. I don't know if it's a mix of allergies or just like stress with stuff. It went away and then it came back.
I think you might be allergic to the PTR. It seems to be fluctuating with the PTR.
Yeah, that's probably it.
In live World of Warcraft news, Wing 1 of LFR for Nighthold is now out, as well as Mythic Nighthold. If you are, interested, Mythic Nighthold loot starts at level 900, and then the next tier is like 905, and then the one after that is 910, with the opportunity for it to be Warforged and all of that. There's also a special Mythic Gul'dan mount. It is the Moose.
Nope, it's the Red Infernal. The Moose it's the Infernal. The Moose is for achievements. Achievements for Nighthold and Nightmare.
Yeah, that's for the raiding one. Yeah. The first 3 bosses that you can fight on LFR are Scorpion, the Chromatic Anomaly, and Trillax. And these fights are a lot of fun. I've done all of those on both normal and heroic.
Trillax likes cake.
Yes. Oh my goodness. That fight, the difference between normal and heroic is hilarious. Like you have to keep up on the timers for like cake and all that so well, or else you'll wipe every time. I can't imagine the difference between like LFR even and heroic. I know that I had a friend who did LFR and he said that the chromatic anomaly, they killed him so fast he only did a slow phase. Like he never even got
Oh wow,
to the
nice.
fast phase at all. So, but I think that happens a lot because it's meant to be, an easier version that sort of teaches you the
Right.
base mechanics. But yeah, so if you're looking to check out those raids, but maybe you aren't, raiding with a guild, or you want like a low pressure, low stress, well, depends on your tolerance level if it's stressful or not,
Yep.
but be sure to check out that LFR. Also, a bunch of the Nighthold trinkets were hotfixed and buffed, so if you felt like things were weak, they're a little stronger now. There will be another round coming that will buff tank trinkets.
Yep.
Also, Aloriel, all these names, man. This is the
Yeah.
bane of my existence. Aloriel, she has been hotfixed so that her door opens and you don't have to kill her fourth. You'll have, your choice of of the next 5 bosses after Trillax, which previously she was kind of, she was one of the more linear bosses in that raid. And as of right now, I think that we like most guilds who are doing Mythic are hitting a wall around 7. But as of
Yeah.
right now, several guilds are 9 out of 10, and a few guilds are already like working on Gul'dan. So
Yep.
I think it is going to be either Serenity or Exorcist who is going to be that first Gul'dan Mythic kill, but we'll see.
Yeah, and keep in mind that there's a special mythic Gul'dan phase. It briefly appeared in the Dungeon Journal on the PTR, and we data mined it back in October. But the abilities were not included with it, so like all we know is that like unbeknownst to Khadgar, there's like something happens with like Illidan's body and at
But wait,
10%.
there's more.
Yeah.
That fight, I was
Yeah.
surprised because our guild, like I run in a group that we're not super hardcore or anything. Like we've cleared normal and we just started heroic, but we're kind of casual about it. And I was surprised. Gul'dan is not terrible on normal, but I know he's a lot harder on heroic than he is on normal. But we definitely were more tripped up on. I think it's Oloriel who has the 3, the fell and the frost and the shadowy balls. Is
Yeah,
that her?
looking at the guide, how it changes on Mythic, like in phase 1, you fight Gul'dan directly. Like, so like the phase 2 normal phase is like the phase 1 Mythic phase. And then like phase 2 of Mythic is the same as phase 3 of lower difficulties with like additional
The
changes.
big blob
And
thing.
then, yeah, and then at the end, you have like a special twist. So,
Yeah, great, wonderful. That must be. I'm
yeah.
honestly better than me. I'm not, I did a lot of. I mean, my guild was not like racing by any means, but my guild we cleared Mythic last year and our last expansion, and there still is a group running in my guild that does that. But man, oh man, like big huge respect props go out to guilds that are pushing Mythic because it's a whole new world, man. Like there's spreadsheets involved. It's like another job.
And
it's
this
like
race is longer than the other two as well. So, like Emerald Nightmare was just like, oh, we're done. But this one, people are like, oh, is this going to go into the next reset?
Yeah.
Like what are the tactics? Like, yeah, can people take that many days off from work? Like,
Yeah.
which boss do you clear first? Do you do your alt runs first? Like all these min-maxy things that aren't even just like,
Yeah.
killing the boss and standing at a
Yeah,
fire.
even if you're not racing and fighting for like world first or server first,
Yeah.
even taking that out, sometimes you'll see on the internet people will be like, "Oh well, you're only doing heroic and stuff like that." And I would say 9 out of 10 times I bet those people aren't even doing that content because people who are doing
Yeah.
Mythic and they're doing it regularly, they understand the amount of time and work and effort that goes into it,
Right.
and they're not mocking people for not doing that because that's just it's not really like how it is. Like everybody who actually raids Mythic knows that it's a big obligation. It's super rewarding when you do down bosses and stuff, but it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot of work. So good luck to Serenity and Exorcist. It looks like one of those two will be world first. But if you're working on Mythic at all, you have my support and my respect because it's a lot. It's a lot of work, man.
Yep. In like not Mythic but still cool and taking forever news.
Yes.
Balance of Power can finally be completed.
Yes.
It was available last week with the opening of Mythic and LFR because the final step was to defeat Trilliax and Elisand, and then you had to kill Gul'dan and get his eye, and then you turned it in, and then you finally unlocked the new artifact style, and you got an item that gave you 1 million artifact power at knowledge level 25. And because you unlocked the new artifact style, you can finally use those tints that were piling up, like the one from Unleash Monstrosities.
Yep. This isn't the same quest as the Mana Saber, right?
No, this is a different quest. This is like the one where you have to kill every mythic boss, and then you have to do stuff on Emerald Nightmare and Nighthold.
I'm way far behind on this one. I did Emerald Nightmare, but because I traveled a bunch in the beginning of the expansion, I hadn't done the mythics, so we were like 3/4 of the way through the tier when I was like, what is this quest that I'm so far behind on? So now I have to like pug Emerald Nightmare to catch up on Corrupted Essences. It's fine. But also, as of Emerald Nightmare coming out, Nighthold. As of Nighthold coming out, you can also finish the Insurrection quest line, which will reward you with your Arcanist's Rune Saber. Wow. But the best part about this, right, is that I had a full-fledged panic attack, because after you kill Gul'dan, you have to loot him for an item, and you then, talk to Khadgar. You have a quest that you have to go turn in, and then it just stops. Like, you turn in the quest, and then it does not it doesn't give you another quest that leads you to Suramar. Like, the quest flavor text tells you to go to Suramar, but if you're half paying attention, it's like you turn in all the quests and you're like, I don't have a cat. Where's my cat? I don't understand what's going on. So if that happened to you, he is the guy in Meridil. If you go to Meridil, he's there. You'll have a brand new quest. It's a 2-second scenario where you just go in and listen to people talk. But listen, I can't be the only one who had that moment. But then again, maybe I could have. I have been struggling a lot.
No, I mean, I think the Wowhead comments on quests are usually just hey, remember to turn this in here. Or, if you forgot this, you can go here. So that's a really popular thing in the comments.
It's weird though, because normally in a quest chain, it'll send you one quest to the other, to the other, to the other, but you turn one in, and then you actually don't have a quest anymore, and you have to go to Suramar to get a new quest, and it's very strange. But so if you are in that position, get yourself a Mana Saber. It's a cool mount. It's a really cool mount.
The wings are really pretty.
Yeah, and just all the it has magical things. It almost reminds me of Mage Tier 6, with the back of it kind of shoots up.
It's very arcane and nether. It's a nicer version of the shop mount. I know people are they're similar, but it really looks a lot different. Plus, when you use it in Suramar, you have your disguise put on, so you don't have to worry about illusions. So
what are you hiding?
Nice. Also, when Mythic and Wing 1 LFR opened, there was a Mythic Keystone update. Loot scale's up to Keystone level 15 now. Previously, it stopped at 12. So the end boss loot is 885, and the weekly chest is 900 Mythic.
Yeah.
And that can, proc up to 925 Titan Forged.
Yeah. In less stressful news, there are also some holidays going on and coming up in World of Warcraft right now. It is the Lunar Festival, which has that new costume toy that's like a dragon who's pretty cool, and you can either be the head, the middle, or the end. So there's a lot of fun stuff you can do with that. There's also the Legion Dungeon event starts. Is it going on?
It'll start tomorrow.
It starts tomorrow. Okay. I almost said that, and then I wanted to back up and be wait a second. Also, the Kirin Tor Tavern Crawl is coming up.
Yeah, that's actually live on EU Realms right now, and is starting on US Realms at midnight. And looking at it, just what we preview this on the PTR. And there are Tipsy Wobble Rune will teleport you to a new inn every few minutes, and each inn will have special NPCs and a special drink. And there are hats lying around, and when you click on them, you have a variety of hats that can appear on your head. And you just sort of hop around from inn to inn and enjoy the scenery, and maybe you'll learn something new about the area, because they take you to a lot of old zones like Moonglade and Everlook and Booty Bay and Silithus. And I had fun doing it on the PTR, and I also included in the Wowhead guide, some tavern-themed transmog items you might want, or if you got a kick out of the, fancy name drinks that, hey, there's actually lots of inns that sell unique items like the Grim Guzzler and Blackrock Depths, or, the Darkwind Vera special food and drinks. So if you like to RP, or you just like collecting or seeing or you appreciate fun world building things, we made a note of that stuff. But yeah, there are 10 inns. They have fun things like mechs on the beach, or like, a blackout kick, which makes your screen black, or like Wiley's Look at Ale, which turns you bright red. Fun stuff like that.
And hats. There's lots of fun hats.
Yeah, you can. I think we found 24 variations, and you can have like rhinestone sunglasses, or druid antlers, or a chef hat, or like a zebra hat. Lots of cool things that you can get. So it's just a fun, holiday. I thought that this would be cool if they had it like, I don't know, once every month on a Friday. And it's sort of a fun way
or
to
even
unwind,
like
and
quarterly. So it's just a little more often than once a year. It seems like kind of a more fun and laid back thing than, especially compared to like Call of the Scarab, which was a pretty
that's pretty intense
mini holiday. Yeah. So that's about it for our WoW news. So Sass is going to gather up all your questions and get them to Perk. But in the meantime, keep an eye on Wowhead, because Fat Boss TV is constantly updating our raid guides, including Gul'dan.
Yep, that one is all updated now. I think we just have Ellison to go, which will be done later today after this show.
Yep, and then also guide writers for classes are constantly updating our guides for hot fixes as well. So make sure that if you're using them that you're saying thank you, because those are very useful things. And again, it's sort of like Sass, thankless job.
Yeah, we made a post on it on Friday where we listed everyone's Twitter for all of the guides, and you can, reach them if you want to like see more of their theory crafting blogs or streams or videos or what have you. And, there's been hot fixes every day, and they've been reacting to them. And we also put up a guide on how to use tools like Simulation Crafter Pawn to help you if you want to get, really customized, unique stat weights, and you want to, to take your gearing to the next level beyond just general recommendations. Because, some things are dependent on if you have another piece, or if you have a certain talent, and it's not one size fits all. Yeah. But if you're just like, you don't need to care about that. But if you want to care, then, we have a guide where you can, it's like, teach the person how to fish versus like just giving them the fish. So we have an advanced viewing guide for that.
Yeah. Also, just a reminder, there will not be a show on Friday because I will be in Europe, but there will be a show the following Friday. So there won't be a Wowhead Weekly on, that would be the 3rd, but there will be Wowhead Weekly on the 10th. And we do usually stream on Fridays at 3 o'clock Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. So if you are interested in joining us live in the future, our next show will be February 10th at 3 p.m. Pacific or 6 p.m. Eastern, depending on where you are, or anywhere in the middle. Or
so we have a few questions. With these smaller holidays, are there achievements for them that have rewards such as titles, pets, and mounts?
Nope.
There's nothing. The only thing that's kind of a reward is that whoever won the AQ event has their faction banner by Encourage for the next year.
For the next year. But nothing personal, and they did that on purpose because they didn't want this to turn into a completionist thing. I have a running bet with no one that eventually that will change, though. I would not be surprised if maybe the whole year they hold out and say no rewards, but, rewards invigorate people to do things. Rewards are, persuasive.
Next one is about professions. Someone is asking if Nomi will ever get better.
No.
That the drop rate is bad.
It is.
And he's actually getting a little bit. So he has a chance to give you prepared ingredients in his regular work orders.
Is that in 7.2?
Yeah, and you can collect and combine 10 of these to generate food servings. The servings will be randomly chosen among recipes and you also have a chance to discover additional recipes when combining the food. Yeah. This is not 100% because my work order on the PTR did not give me prepared ingredients.
Of course not, yeah.
But we will see.
Because he's Nomi. But at least they're doing something that will make that a little bit better.
Yep. Someone is asking if the achievement, so the Obliterum Forge is gone in the quest to unlock
the prerequisite quest
no longer needed in 7.2, and someone is asking if that will become a feat of strength. And I'm not sure off the top of my head, but if people are ever curious if something like is becoming a feat of strength, if you just go to the PTR version of the page on Wowhead, it's usually updated. So like if ahead of the curve, no, that's not a good example, but like if something moves from being like, oh, it's a normal raid achievement to a feat of strength, you should be able to see that on the PTR version, or like if an item changes stats, the PTR version of the site will have that different set of items.
That's the thing.
Let's see. I do not like the new Death and Decay or Death Grip. D&D is missing the red energy wish when you first cast it. What are your thoughts? I think that these are kind of a work in progress. I know that they say that they were saying that the Death Grip is going to have some work, and that maybe like the alternate colors per spec will show up with glyphs. I also think that retextured abominations are coming, because Muffinus has been tweeting stuff like, hey, he's like, you guys really don't like how they look, right? So I think that's coming.
Yeah, and all of anything as far as like those types of visuals, like again, it's very, very early. I mean, if you do decide to leave feedback about something that you do or don't like, be polite about it, because they still have tons of time to change things. So try not to be mad.
Yep. Do you think Andrin will get a bit more involved in the story?
Yes.
There's a lot of Sylvanas. Don't get me wrong, that's awesome too. Yeah, he even has a new model. Even has a new model.
Hold on, I show you.
Yep.
He is under right here. This is the model. I'm going to cover your face for a second, Perk. I'm sorry.
Okay.
This is the model for disguised Anduin. Ooh, who's that guy? It's Anduin. Yep. And so I have a feeling he's going to have something to do with what's going on, because otherwise, why would he be wearing a disguise?
Yep.
It's not even
any ideas? 7.2 release date? No. Really far off, because like there's a dungeon, there's a raid, none of that's open yet. Like it's very basic right now. Blizzard has said in their PTR developer notes that not to expect the dungeon or raid for testing anytime soon.
Yeah, and then not only that, but when the patch does come, whenever 7.2 does come, that doesn't necessarily mean that I know that the raid isn't opening immediately. It'll be very much like how 7.1 added the data for Nighthold, but Nighthold wasn't open until 7.15. And then even then, I think it was like a week later or 2 weeks later too. So we can anticipate it to be very similar. It will lay out the storyline, and if I had to guess, I would not be surprised if the dungeon along with the raid wasn't available, because they're in the same area. They're in the same building. They're both in the Temple of Elune.
Yeah. I could see the dungeon opening a little bit earlier to like set up the story.
Yeah, as part like like maybe, you know, whatever the
a few weeks before.
Yeah, because they've said they want to do stuff like that. They want to be releasing content little by little as opposed to all at once. So, which I appreciate.
Any news on the appearance journal being updated to remove unobtainable items?
Ugh.
I have no idea what's going on with that. Usually, if something was only available for a small period of time, Blizzard will not have that visible in the UI by default. Like the Legion Invasion pieces of armor, if you didn't get them, they shouldn't be showing up as like counting towards making your total seem larger. But I think that, you know, there's PTR forums and there's like, you know, people are discussing the new UI improvements, so it'd be good to get some
that's such a
there.
weird gray area though, because if you actually do have those things, it's kind of weird. Like even if it's not obtainable, like I feel like some people would like to look on those. I don't know. It's like it's such a weird gray area. It shouldn't count towards your total, but then like it's kind of, it could be debated whether or not it should actually come out of the journal.
Yeah. Yep. Then finally, do you guys think it's lazy or a nice tribute to remake Tier 6?
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of the most popular sets. You know, we see lots of people on Wowhead looking it up. We see lots of people in game using it, and you know, not a lot of people were playing in Burning Crusade, and
at that level, because back then. Honest to God, guys, back then, like even
those attunements were pretty rough.
Yeah, like it was a big deal to be raiding at all. You know what I mean? Like it was a big. I mean, I remember in Ice Crown, like the Ice Crown Citadel tier, Wrath of the Lich King, when like Heroic came out, and that was like such a huge deal. So you have to think before then, like raiding in general was just like significantly harder. So a lot of guilds were not clearing one tier until the next tier came out completely. And I know like when I was in Burning Crusade, my guild completely skipped that tier because we were so far behind that rather than going to SSC and TK, we went from Karazhan to Hyjal, because that was a better way for us to get gear and move forward and have some semblance of being able to catch up. So even a lot of people who played back then, those were not like Tier 6 was very, it was a big deal if somebody had full Tier 6. It was very rare.
Of course, you can go back and farm them now easily.
It's not the same.
But I don't mind how there is now extra colors of
So
tier
many.
6, or maybe some parts of them would start to get outdated over time, and character models got an update. So why not the tier 6 ones? And I do think that some of the mythic shoulders especially look really nice. I think it's cool that you have extra colors for things. I think it will also be so like with tier 6, there weren't a lot of alternate versions any class
No.
could use. A lot of it was locked to tier. So
Yes.
I think it will be neat if there's recolors or versions that other classes can use. Like a priest could have like the cool warlock helm with with the wings, and you
Yeah.
couldn't get that in Burning Crusade. So
Not only
I'm pretty
that,
much happy with all that.
not only that, but it's such a relevant. It's not like it's so random. Like it's not like, oh, it's just tier 6 because we like tier 6. With Illidan being so involved in
Yeah.
the storyline, and going back to the Temple of Elune, or not back, but whatever, going, having the Temple of Elune being involved, having Kill Jaden being involved, and like all of these throwbacks to what was going on in tier 6 was Black Temple. You know what I mean? Tier 6 was High Jaw.
Yep.
We have Naga bosses like in Nighthold. No. Tomb of
No, we
Sargeras.
have Naga bosses in Tomb.
So it's just, it's the entire raid is almost an homage.
Yeah, so I think that I don't have a problem with it.
No.
I think it's good that I think if the mythic set can have more interesting shoulders,
Helmets,
and helms, I think that it's mostly fine. And we are getting new Legion dungeon sets in 7.2, so there is some
Totally
unique new artwork.
And those are cool too. They're not, I said they were boring because we were going from, these
Right.
mythic super awesome. But that's a whole nother set of gear with between 4 and 6 tints each. I'm sure they'll all have the same amount at the end of, when all is said and done. But we've gotten a lot of new models, and I don't think it's lazy at all. I think it's something that they probably have been getting people. I mean, even at the World of Warcraft Q&A this year, somebody said, would you guys ever consider remaking...
Right, that's how we learned about it.
Yeah, would you ever consider remaking tier sets in HD? And they were like, well, honestly, there's so much gear in the game. Where would we draw the line of like, this needs to be updated, but this doesn't? And I think it's a much better way to pay their respect, I guess, to that memory and nostalgia, as opposed to just like polishing the old models. So then what are people going to do? They're just going to go refarm it again, and it's like they just go through and one shot everything. It's not the same thing.
Yeah,
at least
there's no a
lot
of people like tier 5 and 6 because the memories are really satisfying. For example, tier 5 is also really popular because it's tied to people's memories of dealing with Kael'thas and like running around as legendaries, and that was such a difficult, stressful fight, and people feel proud that they got their chest from him, and now no,
I totally agree.
Yeah, so I'm feeling nostalgic just thinking about creating them, but I have no problem with it. I mean, I think if a set looked exactly the same, it would be meh, but I think that because they're incorporating extra colors and they're trying to add stuff onto the mythic things, and they're still adding new art to the game, and tier 19 is very fantastical and totally new, and not a lot of people have that because you need to do Nighthold to get the full set. I'm fine with this. I mean, I think if more people can understand the lore tied to the tier 6 sets, and maybe people got bored with their tier 6 set because they didn't like that color, and now they have all these extra colors they can do stuff with. So I'm a fan of that. And one last question: with all the crossovers in Blizzard games, when are they going to bring Overwatch NPCs to WoW? I mean, that's a good question. I feel like we used this as a Wowhead April Fool's joke once. But
I mean, we've got the Crusade. We've got the armor that looks like Reinhardt's in game.
Yeah,
I don't think they could do. It would have to be done so carefully, though, if you think about it, because they couldn't just throw Tracer in. It's a different universe. It's like even a different time. Like I understand goblins do electricity stuff.
What about Diablo? Like, I mean, that would have to be like, like a special weird portal happened, and then like the Cow King has appeared,
it's believable that like a Diablo like demon hunter could exist in the World of Warcraft universe. Like they're in the same kind of that medievally sort. I guess not, because I mean there is like steampunk.
I guess you could be like, like I don't know, like
you're talking
like
about Overwatch as a future from
crash.
now. I don't picture the realm of World of Warcraft being present or future.
Well, I guess you could be like, there's like a time walking rift, and then like check out this like weird futuristic thing for the week, and then the rift will close. Maybe
it would have to be goblin and gnome related, first of all.
Yeah,
like it would have to be goblin and gnome related. And I also feel like it would just have to be done in a way that was either fully, like, acknowledging breaking the fourth wall, making fun of themselves, or they'd have to be treading so lightly and carefully in order for it not to come off as being, like, just a cheesy crossover. When you have things like, because it's like Diablo, yes, it's ridiculous, but also, if when Treasure Goblins were on the PTR, or the beta rather, or alpha even, for Legion, people were like, oh, there's Treasure Goblins in WoW now, that's believable, I understand that.
Right.
But, like, if you just had Tracer show up and be like, cheers, love, cavalry's there, you'd be like, where are you from? Like, how are you here?
I mean, we do have the Ogre Watch, fight in the Brawlers Guild.
I feel like a better crossover would be to put a World of Warcraft themed map into Overwatch
fun.
Have it be like a theme park, or like,
right, and you could have some WoW skins. I mean, kind of like,
or a LARP. Oh my god, maybe like a brawl mode where they were like literally all had like stupid bad costumes and LARP weapons. I feel like it'd be easier to put WoW
there are some WoW references. Like, there are Murlocs. There's like the Goldshire Productions movie poster.
Yeah.
There are some little WoW references.
Well, and plus we also know the Blizzard universe exists in the Overwatch universe, because Diva's like a professional StarCraft player.
Exactly.
So, like, it's kind of it would just be, I feel like they'd have to be so careful if they decided, unless they were just going to do little, like, what would be, if you were to do,
Ganymede could sit on someone's head.
Yeah, they could put Ganymede, or they could even have, like, maybe a toy that was, like, a Diva salt shaker that, that I feel like there would be a way to do things like that without it coming across, but I just would have a really hard time. Oh, unless they did, like, a battleground that was maybe somehow...
I like the idea, like, of adding toys and little things could be something to add in that, it would have to be pretty lighthearted whatever they do, because the aesthetic is so different, while something like, Diablo can fit into a spooky area like Duskwood.
Exactly, without it being jarring to the experience. Because, like, as much as someone, like, a lot of people don't care about immersion, but a lot of people do. And if you were to just drop in Overwatch characters, you could be like,
WoW, it's a cash grab, this is just advertising, and WoW game that doesn't fit.
Exactly. It would need to be done in a way that made sure that it didn't... Yes, they could put, like, a broken down bastion somewhere and just not even acknowledge it, right? Like, you're just, like, walking around in a forest and there's, like, a overgrown bastion in it. You could believe that was a goblin creation gone very wrong. For sure.
Yeah. So, like, a Westfall Harvester that has a little yellow bird on it.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of things they could do that were nods and hints, and they already do have a lot in game, just for the record, with, like, May's cryogenic freeze toy and stuff like that. Yeah. But I can't imagine they would ever do, like, a full-fledged event, because they'd have to tread so lightly.
Yeah, I mean,
I would
maybe,
love it.
Who knows?
If they figure it out, I'm in, for the record.
Yep.
But I promise you, even in World of Warcraft, no one would be on the payload.
Yep, so, that's about it for questions.
Ooh, they could make the payload into a mount. Then there would be people on the payload. This is brilliant. This is
Artifact power payload.
Artifact power payload. Yeah, I would love to see more references, because obviously I'm a big fan of Overwatch. I just feel like an event, they'd have to be so careful.
Yep.
They'd have to be so... Unless they outwardly were like, we're time traveling, or like you said, like a portal. I feel like I could
see, like, time walking to the future as opposed to time walking to the past.
Yeah. They'd have to be careful. It would be cool, though. If they could do it, I mean, if anyone could do it, Blizzard could do it, but they'd have to be so really careful.
Creative. Yep.
So careful. So yeah, okay, well, that is our show. Great ending. Thank you guys so much for coming and watching Wowhead Weekly with us live here on Twitch, twitch.tv/Wowhead. We stream on Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We will not be here on Friday the 3rd of February, because I will be in Europe. So our next show will be Friday, February 10th, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And then, of course, as always, we will upload Wowhead Weekly to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Wowhead, and it will be on Wowhead over the weekend. Today it'll be up on, like, Tuesday. I don't know. But thank you guys all for joining us live. Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Thank you to everybody who is subscribed to us on Twitch. We really appreciate it. As your weekly reminder, if you do have Amazon Prime and you're using Twitch Prime to subscribe to Wowhead, it does not automatically renew. So please, if you want to continue supporting the channel, please make sure that you renew your subscription. That's all the things, I think. Yep. So enjoy 7.2, enjoy Nighthold. We will see you guys on the 10th. Have a great week. It's so weird that it's not the weekend. Have a great week, guys. Bye.
Bye.